for joining us today on your lunch hour. We are talking today about Facebook for Business. We might have some people jump in a little bit later, but I have somebody that will go ahead and let them in. I can't see the screen, so if you have a question, please feel free to stop me. You can unmute yourself to ask a question or go ahead and type it into chat. I have Barb here, and she is going to be letting me know if anybody has any questions or comments. My name is Miria Gray. We are live here today at the Mystic branch. So if you hear any noise in the background, it's just the everyday workings of the bank. We are going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, my name is Miria Gray. I am the Community Education Officer at Chelsea Groton Bank. I have worked prior to being at Chelsea 6 years in marketing, and I do a lot of Facebook work for nonprofit groups in the area. So one thing that's really important with Facebook and social media is to really understand where everybody's coming from. So if you could type into chat for me the type of business that you work for. Is it a nonprofit? Are you a roofer? Do you do social work? Those things are going to make a difference in the types of posts that we're going to talk about. And I really like to tailor the presentation to the people that are attending. And if you have one thing that you want to walk away learning, if you could type that into chat too, and Barb will let me know at the end if we hadn't hit any of those things so I can be sure to cover it. Just because Facebook is like a rabbit hole, we could spend hours and hours talking about it. So I've targeted in on some target areas. Do we have any specific? No, okay. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is managing your settings. So I'm assuming that because this is a more advanced course for Facebook, it's beyond the basics, that you've already set up your Facebook page, you've got your profile picture, you've started to use your page. Some of the things that we don't talk a lot about are the settings behind your page. What is your page set up to do? Facebook has a lot of different options. So page visibility, is your page published or unpublished? This is important. You can build your page behind the scene by leaving it unpublished. So you can work on some things. You can add things to your page. You can get everything set up before you publish your page. Oftentimes, Facebook will automatically publish your page, but if you go into settings, you can unpublish it until such time that you're ready to publish it again. There may be some times that you might want to unpublish your page for certain reasons, so that is a good option too, versus, canceling or deleting your page. So, if you're going to be gone for a while, if you're setting this business aside for a little bit, you may want to unpublish it and then republish it again. Visitor posts. Who can post to your page? Do you want people to be able to post to your page as themselves? So anybody can publish to the page. Anyone can add photos and videos to the page is what this particular setting on this particular page is. That is because it's a more community-oriented page. If you're a small business, you are probably not going to want to have that. You are not going to want to allow people to just publish to your page. We're going to be looking at some settings and some background information for the Basra Farmers Market today, because it's a page that I manage, versus Chelsea Groton Bank, which has some security reasons why we're not just going to show all the behind the workings of our Facebook page. So I allow people to publish to this page if they want to. I do have to approve the things that they want to publish, but it allows my vendors to post things about their business. If you turn it off, one thing that people can't do is share photos. So if you run a post that asks people to share a photo of their pet, for example, on Dog Day, show us a picture of your dog, you might have to toggle that setting on for 24 hours to allow people to be able to share photos. If you don't, they can't do that, even on a post. Post and story sharing, posting to stories is on. So stories, as we talked about in our introduction, the Facebook 101 class, you can publish a story, it stays on your page for 24 hours and then it goes away. If it's content that you want to share to last longer, you should share it to both your stories and your page so that it doesn't vanish after 24 hours. If it's just something that you're doing for the day, for example, say you're having an event and you don't necessarily want that page, that post to be there tomorrow or that information to be available tomorrow, publishing to stories alone is fine. You can optimize your audience. So for example, if you only serviced a certain area, you might want to do that. But I am careful about limiting audiences because you never know. Somebody could be looking for you from out of state to use for an in-state purpose. You know, florists, if I can order flowers from a florist to be delivered to another state, I may be searching online for a floral shop that would do that. So limiting your audience is something that can do if you have a very, very specific audience. Messages, can people contact you privately? Meaning, can they send you a private message? I would always leave that on. Tagging ability, only people who manage my page can tag photos posted on it. Why? Because I don't necessarily want people tagging me in photos, so I don't necessarily want to give people the ability to tag people unknowingly in photos. People in other pages can tag my page. You're going to want that. You want your customers to be able to say they had a good experience with you. The Norwich Police Department, for example, has this turned off. That is an example of where you might not want your page to be tagged in other people's posts, right? So thinking through, is your business something that you want people to talk about or no, right? Country restrictions, my page is visible to everybody, but you know, for example, if you only service the United States, if you cared whether people from other countries could see your page or not, you could turn that off. Age restrictions, this is a farmer's market, so it's open to everybody. But for example, if you were a bar, perhaps you would want to turn the age restrictions on to 21 plus so that you know that people that are interacting with your page are eligible to be coming there. Page moderation, you can block words from your page. So for example, if there are certain words that you would not want people to use in posts and or comments on your page, you can block them. I don't. I usually am more likely to have a conversation with somebody about a post that they've made or a comment that they've made rather than just blocking words because for the most part, you don't really need to. You can turn your profanity filter on. So for example, if you were a children's play place or something like that, you could turn a profanity filter on so that nobody was using swear words in their comments on your post. Similar page suggestions. Choose whether your page is recommended to others. So for example, this is the Basra Farmers Market. If somebody liked the Ledyard Farmers Market, the Coventry Farmers Market, New London Farmers Market, would you want them to recommend your page to other people? You should have that turned on as yes. Page updates. Page posts are automatically published when you publish the page, reach milestones, receive reviews, and more. So those are automatically published. Post in multiple languages. Ability to write posts in multiple languages. I have that turned off. on here. I don't necessarily want people publishing to my page in another language. If they have the ability, you have the ability on your end to translate posts. So it's not that, for example, that I'm not allowing my page to be translated into another language. I'm just saying if you're posting to the page, it needs to be in English. So just because that's how the settings are set. But if you had a lot of, say, Hispanic users, for example, and you wanted to make sure that it was interactive and they could post in Spanish, you could absolutely turn that on. And from here, you're able to download your page, merge pages, or delete your page. So download your page gives you the option to download all of the content from your page. So for example, you went out of business, but you didn't want to lose all of the photos that you'd posted to Facebook over the last 10 years. It'll allow you to download all of that content. If you're worried right now, Facebook is doing a lot of, you could do this on your personal page too. So Facebook has been turning people off for 30 days or longer if they don't like content they've been putting out there. My recommendation is that every quarter you're downloading the content from your page so that you have it and you don't lose those things if for some reason Facebook decides to shut your content off for some reason. You can also merge duplicate pages. So for example, I manage Norwich Events Organization. At one time before we were a nonprofit, we had 4 different pages for each of the events that we ran because we were not an organization. So we had a St. Patrick's Parade page, we had a 4th of July fireworks page, we had a Winterfest page. Now, you as a business owner do not necessarily want to manage 4 different event pages, and you want a place where everybody can have the same content. Merging pages allows you to do that. You have to change the names to be the same. You have to do one at a time. You have to change them to be the same title, and then you can merge the pages as long as you own them both. And they're similar content. All right, so were there any questions about that? Just want to make sure. Yeah, and then you can delete your page. So posting best practices. So when you're posting, oftentimes what I see is that people have gone out and grabbed a photo off of Google, for example. And what has a tendency to happen is if you're looking for a Google stock image, if you don't buy that image, the image that is shown to you is a low quality image. So what you're then sharing out is a grainy creative image, okay? So this might be the image you're looking at on your computer, but when you post to Facebook and it blows that image up, what you're getting is a very pixelated image because the image was never meant to be blown up to that size. So it's really important to do high quality creatives as a business owner so that you're reputable, you look reputable, that it doesn't look like you stole a photo from somewhere. Actionable messages. So what do you want somebody to do with this content that you've shared out there? Like if you just share, today is National Dog Day, that's great information for me, right? But I have nothing to do with your post. I am now just scrolling by because you haven't asked me to do anything. But if you said today is National Dog Day, can share a picture of your dog, then that tells me that I should be doing something. So then I'm going to interact with your post and share a picture of my dog, which everybody knows we all love our pets. So people love to share content. So make sure that whatever you're doing, that it's actionable. So if you're sharing an article, make sure you're using those action words. Read this article about whatever. You can ask for emojis to be given, right? Give us a thumbs up sign if you agree with this article. Give us the frowny face if you don't agree with it. Ask them to do something other than just scroll by because you want that interaction with your page. The more people that interact with a post, the more people it's fed to. So the more interactions you can get, the more people will see it. Know your audience, right? So if you have a cat shelter, you're probably not going to post it's National Dog Day. Share us a picture of your dog, right? Because you have a bunch of cat lovers on your page. So, you know who you're speaking to. So know your audience. Your audience wants to see cats. They're there for the cats. Give them the cats. So, know who your audience is. And likewise, if you're running an events page, you're not going to want to share events from out of your area, because if you do, people aren't going to be able to attend them. So, just because you think something is neat, if you're going to share something that happens somewhere else because you think it's really great, ask people if it's something that you would like to happen in the area, because then you're making it relatable to your page. So somebody's going to say, oh, great, there's a street festival in Michigan. I can't go to a street festival in Michigan. But if I said, oh, here's a street festival in Michigan, what would you think about doing that in Mystic? And people might give you some great feedback, right? Keep it simple. So think about how you interact with posts on Facebook. Are you going to stop and read something that is 30 paragraphs long? Probably not. If you have a lot to say, that's fine, but make sure you're going to catch their interest in that first paragraph. So keep get that, don't bury the lead. Right at the beginning of your content, tell them what it is about and why they need to keep reading. You'll see a lot of posts that say, I know this is long, but bear with me because this is really important for this reason. Okay, that encourages people to say, okay, this is important to me, it's important to this person, now I'm going to take some time to read it. But for the most part, your posts should be simple and self-explanatory and short. Pin important posts. So, for example, if you're going to be closed for a holiday and you've posted that, but you want to post it in advance because you don't want to tell them on the day that you're closed that you're closing, right? So you've told them several days in advance that you were going to be closed for a holiday, Martin Luther King Day, for example. Maybe you have told them, because that falls on a Monday, maybe you've told them on a Friday or a Thursday or a Wednesday. You should pin that post to the top of your page so that when people visit your page, they're getting the most important relevant information first, right? Here's the information, we're closed on Monday. After Monday, make sure to unpin that post, because you don't want to keep telling people on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that you were closed on Monday. That's no longer relevant anymore. But once you unpin it, then it will go back down to where you had originally posted it, and all of the other content you posted after it will appear before it. All right, so we've talked what types of posts will perform. The video is top right now. So video performs the best. And why? And it's because Facebook automatically starts playing video in your feed. So if you're thinking about how you use Facebook, if you're scrolling through, you can see the video, it starts playing, even if you have audio turned off on your phone, which I do because it's distracting if you're scrolling through Facebook to just have things, the sound on all of the time. The video is very eye-catching and engaging. So video posts are performing the best right now. Facebook Lives also perform really well. The reason that they do is that your followers on your page are informed that you are Facebook Live. So, for example, if we were Facebook Live right now, this class, instead of on Zoom, it would inform everybody that we were teaching a class and they could tune in and watch from wherever they might be. Feedback. If you ask for feedback, people love to give their opinions about things. So asking for feedback about something usually generates a lot of response. And ask your audience to make a choice or vote. So if you're trying to decide on, say, a new color for a t-shirt that you're going to print for your company, or new flooring, or whatever it might be, give your audience pictures of both. We're thinking this yellow t-shirt or this orange t-shirt. Which one do you prefer? Because people will interact with that. Again, they love to give their opinions on things, so they'll interact with that kind of a post, especially if you really are selling an item. If you're saying, look, we're going to get these t-shirts printed for sale. If you were going to buy one, what color would you want it in, right? Because oftentimes we're not going to buy, 5 or 6 different colors. We're going to buy one color. So we want to make sure that the color that we buy is going to have the highest amount of interest. The coffee or tea posts work, really well, this, that, or this, the other. So, you could pick one post a week or something like that to ask for somebody's opinion about something. All right. And when to post. There's 2 ways to decide of what is the best time to post. What your insights say and when it's relevant. Okay. So, for example, this is looking at insights of the page. If you look, this one was posted at 11:24, 10:28 a.m., 2:36 p.m., 12:11 p.m., and 12 p.m. Now, here is the reach for each of those posts. So this one had 1.1 thousand as the reach for the post. It was just a woman singing to her cow. Again, this is a farmer's market, so not everybody is going to want to post, a video of a woman singing to her cow, but farmer's market, it makes sense. But if you look, so this has 679, 512. This one was really high. It was a video post, by the way. But these are all within that 10, 11, 12 block of time, and they did the best. These down here are 2, and this one is low. It's 12, but it was that was 12 a.m. It was a New Year's Eve post. So, not too many people are looking at Facebook at midnight. But this one was 2:36 p.m. So these were all kind of in the morning time, and this one was in the afternoon. Clearly, people are looking more in the morning. You could figure out, what day of the week it was if you really wanted to. And so potentially, if I was going to make a post, I'd say, look, I get some really great feedback, between 10 and noon. So if all my posts are happening between 10 and noon, I will probably get the most amount of interaction with them. But the other thing is when it's relevant. So if it's a snow day and you're going to be closed, you're not going to wait until 11 o'clock in the morning to post that you're closed for the day. So when it is relevant is pretty early. As soon as you have decided that you're not opening, that you're closing, that's the time to post, okay? If you want to repost again later, go for it, but you definitely want that information out there right away. And so this information is right on your insights page. So now we're going to look at insights. And there are 3 that I think really matter the most. One is actions on the page, one is post reach, and the other one is post engagement. So if you look at your insights, this is exactly what you're going to see when you pull up the page. And all of these are from January 12th to January 18th. So this is all new information. It's from the last week, okay? So you can change the time frame on your insights that it is giving you. So if you don't want last week, if you want last month, but you can't go too far back. So it's really important to be looking at your insights more frequently. Set a time to, check them out and see how you're doing. They give you, if you're looking at it on a page manager, they give you the insights for each post at the bottom of each post now. So you can see, but this gives a nice general picture. So actions on a page are the combined total clicks for your contact information or the call to action button that you have on your page. The call to action button is that button, the blue button that appears on your page. You can change what that button says. So it might be contact us, it might be make an appointment. There's like 10 different options. I think make a donation might be one of them. So if you're a nonprofit, that might be what you want to do. But you can change that call to action button. So when people are looking for your contact information or they've clicked that button, your actions on the page will tell you. Now, this one says they have insufficient data. So in that week's time, nobody had clicked on the call to action button or the contact information. So the farmers market's closed right now. So most people aren't looking for it. So you're not going to get that information pulled up. Post reach, which is right here, is the number of people who saw your posts in their timeline. So as they're scrolling through Facebook, even if they don't do anything with it, was it presented to them? Okay, so so this is up 168%. That is due to that one post that had 1.1 thousand, reach with it, because it was presented to more people because there were a lot of people interacting with it. Had a lot of shares. People really were loving the singing to the cow. So, and then post engagement is the combined total of likes, comments, shares, and other engagements that happen with each post. But they're looking at all of the posts over the course of the week. So if you want to find out each individual one, you can go look at each individual post. This is for the week total. So if you scroll down on the Insights page, this is important information. So pages to watch. So you can compare your page to other similar pages. So if you want to see how you're doing in comparison to other similar organizations, this is where you can do it. So for example, this is us, Basra Farmers Market. This is our total page likes. Okay, so the closest to us is Monroe's Farmers Market. So we have very similar page likes, but Monroe Farmers Market isn't really near us. So while we have very similar page likes, and that is good information to know about, how we compare in that way, I also want to compare our interactions with other farmers markets in our area. So Ledyard and Coventry, okay? So even though I have 4.5 thousand and Coventry has 14.3 thousand, we're in the same area and we draw from the same customer base. So I do want to know what is happening there, okay? But if you look over here, Coventry had 0 engagements this week. They had no posts, but we have 139 engagements with 2 posts. So all of the farmers markets, Ledyard plus Monroe, they each had 2 posts. Our engagements are much better than others similar to us, which is important for you to know, because you want to make sure that you're at least similar, okay? Better's great, but similar is where you want to be, right? If you have the same amount of followers, you want to be having the same amount of engagements if you're having the same amount of posts. If they're having a ton of engagements and more posts, you may want to consider, amping up your posts. If they're having similar amount of engagements, but many less posts, so say you're posting every day of the week, so you've got 7 posts going on, but they only have 2 and they still have similar amounts of engagement, you could think about easing back on the amount of content that you're putting out there every week. So it's really looking at your insights and seeing, how am I doing in comparison to others? You might be overwhelming people with the amount of content you're putting out there, so they're not interacting with you anymore. So this is a good way to figure it out. All right, boosting your posts. So boosted posts are ads that you create from a post that you've created. So you create a post, and then at the bottom, if it is your content, you can boost it. You'll see a blue button at the bottom of the post to boost. If it's shared content, if you shared something from somewhere else, you can't then boost that. It has to be your created content that you're boosting. But a boosted post may help you get more people to react with it. So why would you want to do that? So for example, if you were hosting an event, you might want to boost a post that is related to that event, or some information about it. If, for whatever. In the past, it was really old. We had canceled an event because of inclement weather. So we made a post to the page saying the event was canceled, even though we canceled the event in the event, because just because people haven't replied to the event doesn't mean they don't know about it. So it's important that you're making sure to reach everybody. But you can also reach new people who are likely interested in your page or business through a boost. So we're going to look at how to get that done. Okay, so how do we boost a post? So you've created a post, it's your content, and so down at the bottom here, it allows you to boost it, okay? So before you do, the number of people that it's already reached is here, and the number of engagements is here, okay? So if you click this boost post button, it will take you to this page. And it will say, what are your goals for this? So you can let Facebook select the most relevant goal based on what your settings are, which is typically what I have it do, but you could also change the goal, right? But for this post, it made sense to just leave it. Do you want to add a button to it? And so there's several options for a button that you could add to it, and we'll look at that in the next slide. Is it a special ad category? So this is important. If it's about credit, employment, housing, social issues, elections, or politics, they are very restrictive about what a boost or any kind of ad can say. And you need to let them know if it's that type of a post. So you have to toggle that on. You are limited as to what you can say, and there are certain restrictions to those types of posts, okay? And you can see what the ad will look like over here. And if you see an ad that says sponsored, that means that somebody has paid to put that into your feed. So if you click that button, do you want to add a button to your post? So you can have no button. You could say book now. So if you were saying, hey, if you're a hair salon and you said, hey, we had a cancellation on Tuesday at noon, does anybody want this? You might want to put a book now button. If you are an entertainer and you are, have a 10% discount on your services for February because you're not booked up yet, you may want to put a book now button. Learn more, that'll take them to your website. Shop now. If you have a shop or store on your Facebook page, it will take them there. So if you got in new purses and you're showing this picture of a beautiful new purse that you got in, you can take them right to your store. Sign up. Do you have a newsletter? Do you have something else going on? What are you asking them to do? Send you a message. So, if you want people to send you a private message, you can put that type of a button. Facebook also bought WhatsApp. So if you use WhatsApp as a texting mechanism versus whatever messenger system happens to be on your phone, you can text back and forth with them with WhatsApp, or call now. So if you want somebody to call you, you can put a call now button. And if they're doing it from a mobile device it will automatically call the number that you have associated with your account. So then you would choose your audience. Who do you want to see this post, right? So you can edit the details. This one happens to say people living in the United States, Basra plus 10 miles, ages 18 to 65. Again, it's a farmer's market. So, you know, how far are you really going to travel to go to a farmer's market? I don't want 50 or 100 miles in here because my ad's going out to people that aren't necessarily probably going to be coming, right? So you want to be realistic in how far are people really going to drive to come to your location. If you are a store that's shipping, does it matter? No. And maybe you want to target areas, right? So maybe you're located in Mystic, but you want to target Niantic because you think people from Niantic might come to your store in Mystic. So you could target Niantic as a location. You could also do people who like your page. So if you're offering a discount, for example, for only people that like your page, you could just show that to people who like your page. People who like your page and their friends. I like this one. Why? Because if you already have enough people that like your page, and for this page, you know, we have over 4,000 people who like this page. Think about 4,000 people plus all of those 4,000 people's friends, right? If you think about people are usually friends with people that have similar interests, live in similar locations, and like to do things together as a group, that's a really great option for you to say, I want all of my followers plus everybody that they know. That's who we're targeting. You can do people in your local area, and you can set some audiences up. And when you set them, you can save them. So you can use that saved audience the next time. So you don't have to keep recreating different audiences. And it will tell you based on these, what your estimated daily results are and the post engagement that you'll get and your payment summary. But we'll look at that in the next slide. So you can edit your audience. So maybe I really wanted it, if I was a bar, for example, I only want to target 21 plus. If you were a youth organization, you're probably not going to want to target 65-year-olds, right? So you would want to narrow that. It really is depending upon who your audience is. And down here, you're going to want to look at this little scale down here. It's going to tell you if you're too specific or too broad. You really want to be somewhere like target right in the middle. You don't want to have your target audience too specific because it won't reach enough people. You don't want to have it so broad that you're just like flinging money into the wind. So, you know, really engage people. If it's a men's event, maybe you want to target men. If it's something specific to women, you may want to target specifically women. And you can set your total budget. So, for example, $10 is a great budget, and I could reach 241 to 698 people a day. That's pretty broad. I'm going to spread that $10 out over 5 days. The great thing about Facebook advertising is that you can do it for very low cost. And ads work basically in the same way. So if you wanted to create an ad, for example, versus just boosting a post. So if you wanted to create an ad for your business, you could do it in very much the same way. If you look at your page over here on the left, it's in the ad center. And then you can create an ad. When you create an ad, it's going to ask you to choose a goal. What's your goal for this ad? Do you want to get more visitors to your website? Facebook is recommending this for me right now, but maybe that's not my goal. Maybe I don't necessarily want people to go to my website. Do I want to boost a post, boost an Instagram post, boost an event, get more people to message me? promote my page, get more phone calls, promote my business locally, or get more leads. So I would choose whatever would make most sense for the ad that you want to put out there. I chose select an event, right? Because that happens frequently. People create an event, they don't have a lot of interactions with it. How do you get more people to interact with an event that you're having? So then it's going to give you this option to do your ad creative. The greatest thing about it is it pulls in all of the information from your event that you've already put there. However, you might not want the same information that you chose to populate your event with to be the ad content, right? That doesn't necessarily tell people to come to your event. That's giving information about your event, but maybe too much information. Maybe it needs to get tweaked a little bit. Maybe you've got information about how to become a vendor, but you don't necessarily want to put that information out there in an ad. You can edit anything in this description box. As you edit it, it will show you what it is over here. If, for example, this is the cover photo that it pulls from the event, if you think this is too busy and it's not going to grab enough attention as an ad, you can edit options and change the photo. So you can change everything about it, but when they click on it to go in the event, they're going to see your original event. Your ad doesn't change anything about the original event. It has only changed what is being fed to people's Facebook page. So you can choose an image. So if you've got something already in your on your Facebook page that you want to use, you can do that. You could choose a video. If you've got a really short clip that you think would garner people's attention, grab that. You can upload a new image, or you can crop the image that's there. So for example, Facebook ads, they don't really like a lot of text in the image. So if you had some text on the side over here, you might want to crop out the text and just leave the image. But for this as an example, wouldn't really be that great of an image to use because it's too much text, and visually it's not going to catch my attention enough as I'm scrolling through. So I would probably want to change that if I really was going to create an ad for this event. Okay, is there any questions about that before I go on? Yes.
So the charge you were talking about, is it more money if you do a video or you add something more, like, I guess that's not, yeah, is it more money like for a video?
No, so, and you get to decide how much you want to spend. If you want to spend $5 and only do it for one day, great. If you want to spend $500 and run it for 2 months, great. So the good thing about Facebook is that you can say, I have X amount of dollars to spend on advertising this event, or to spend on promoting my business. And this is how I'm going to split it out. I want this ad to run for 2 weeks and I want to spend $20 on it. I want this ad to run for another 2 weeks and I'm going to spend $30 on that. So, you know, you get to choose how much you want to spend. So, you know, as long as you can choose to spend $10, you can use to spend $5. What they are going to say is you can't spend $5 to run an ad for 2 weeks because there's like a minimum amount of money that you can spend per day. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. But changing it to a video from an image doesn't change the cost at all. Okay. So Facebook Shops. So a lot of businesses have had to kind of pivot in this COVID economy. And you may not have a website, but you may have a storefront. And you can, if you have a way for people to purchase via credit card, you can set up a shop in your Facebook page now. It used to be a little bit clunky before. They've made a bunch of advancements on it. So, but first you have to set up an account with Facebook Commerce Manager, and they're going to determine whether or not you can have a shop or not. So they're going to look at how your business is set up and determine whether or not your business is a shop. For example, if you were set up as an event company, you might not be able to have a shop. They might say, you're not really selling anything. So they're going to take a look at that. The majority of times, they're going to go ahead and approve it as long as it makes sense. If you're a person, they may not approve it. Like if you're a community leader, if you have your profile set up as community leader, they may not approve for you to have a shop. But you just have to, if you're a store, then they're obviously going to approve your shop, okay? So then you create a collection, customize your storefront, and publish your shop. I have an entire presentation on how to get this done. This itself will take an hour, so I'm not going to get into like the nitty gritty of how to do it. They have some great tutorials to walk you through, and it's actually much more intuitive than it used to be. So once you have your shop set up in your Commerce Manager, there'll be a shop tab that appears in the left-hand column of your business page. And if you click on that, it'll walk you right through setting up your shop.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So on the, back to the charge thing again, the book now or interested or one of those, is that also a charge or is that free?
No, it's free. So the only thing you're paying for is for them to put it in front of people. It doesn't cost you anything to create an ad or make it have all kinds of bells and whistles. If I just took all the same settings as Facebook plugged in, it's going to cost the same as if I changed every single setting in there. Is that?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm still new to this, so I'm kind of like.
Yeah, and
Just
feel
curious.
free to, as you're going along, ask questions or, send me a message afterwards.
Sure.
Like if you're getting into it and you're like, I don't understand. So this is how you're, so right here, you can see that in the left-hand column, there's a shop tab. And if you open up the shop, it'll show all of these things and this is just a standard one. I pulled an image off. So it'll show you things that you might have for sale. Okay. So it looks very much like if you were going to build a website and have things, but it's much less expensive. Okay, and that is all I have for today, but I am happy to answer any questions, or if I didn't touch on something that you really wanted to know about, I'm happy to do that.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. I think I'm good.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out today. Bye-bye.